We love our storm shelter. It's amazing. I can't imagine not having one again. I put it off as long as I did, and then once we had it installed, I would never go back. But yeah, we are incredibly happy with your shelter, and we thank you very much. Well, as a father and a husband, I feel a lot better knowing that I made that decision, that I had it installed. Um, I know that I've gone to the length that I needed to go. I don't have anything to worry about. It has taken an amazing amount of pressure off of me of worrying about my family. I mean, especially being married is one thing, but once you have kids, you worry about them. I mean, generally that's what you do, and you will until the day you die. There's always going to be something in your mind that you're concerned with. I mean, I'm not saying I walk around worrying all day, but you do have worries. And I saw more. I saw what happened to Moore. I saw what happened to Joplin, and those areas are not far enough away from me. We had a tornado touch down 4 miles from here. What was it? Towards the end of last year, and that was a wake-up call to me. That was more than enough. I don't ever need one to get closer. Now I don't have to worry about it. If I had had this shelter then, it would not have been even close to as big of a concern as it was. Now we just get in and wait and watch. I mean, with your phones nowadays, it's kind of amazing, but you can sit there and watch online what's going on while you're in the shelter. I can't imagine it being any easier. And we've just never liked the idea of one of the underground ones. That just kind of freaks us out. Having a house fall on top of it does not enthuse me at all. So we're extremely happy with our choice. We like the one we chose. And again, the fear's gone. It's like having a vault at home, and that's a big vault. So again, we love it, and we thank you guys. That's the way I feel about the storm shelter. It's not that I ran around every day being afraid of a tornado wiping out my home, but the fear's still there. If you really think about it, the fear is there, and it's not there for us anymore. It's really strange, even the way we watch the storms. When we watch the weather and what's occurring, it's just we're so much more relaxed about it. It's a nice feeling. I remember all of our customers, when we would install security systems, would say essentially the same thing, that they weren't always worried about somebody breaking into their home, whether they were there or not. But once the security system went in, it gave them a huge peace of mind. They just stopped thinking about that fear. Again, whether or not you realize it, it's there. And living in Oklahoma, whether or not people admit to it, there's always a concern that that you could lose everything to a storm. God forbid you lose your family, but all of your belongings as well. That fear went away for us. It's really amazing, but I even see it in the way we watch storms on the news now. It's not even a concern anymore. It's really strange. I laugh about it, but it's true. We watch it, and we know that if anything gets crazy, if we hear the noises, if they say there's a funnel cloud, there's a strong circulation, we can just walk out, get in the shelter, close the door. It's an amazingly well-built unit, and we just really don't have any fear about it from this point forward, and that's a nice feeling. A friend of mine that has a shelter put it perfectly, and he said that the money he spent on the shelter was the best money he hopes he never has to use, and it's the best way to put it. I can't agree more. I'm very happy that I spent it. It's changed my attitude about storms. It's changed my attitude about the dangers. I think of Moore, what happened with the folks in Moore, and what happened with the people in Joplin, and I know that could happen to us. It's just a possibility. Living in the storm area that we do, it's always a possibility, and now I don't have that concern. I just know that we've done everything we can, and that makes me feel a lot better about the whole situation, I have to say. It has changed the way we think about our house in such a good way. We will never have a home again without one, and that's even if we move to a place that doesn't have storms or doesn't have tornado risk. We'll still have one put in. We'll still have this one moved, and that's just because of it's a safe room as well, and obviously you guys know that, but that lock on there is amazing. If I go out of town, and we want to lock any belongings in there, I could stick my TV in there if I wanted to, and I know that when I get back into town, they could loot this house to the ends of the earth, but there's no way they're getting inside of that box. If they pounded on that thing to even try to get into it, it would alert every neighbor within 2 miles that something was going on, and I like that. That I did a ton of research before we selected to go with you guys, to go with MBS Shelters. It was a big decision, and when we had that tornado, as we've talked, when we had that tornado touchdown 4 miles up the road, that was too close. I kicked my research into high gear, and you, again, we've talked about this, but your price it beat everybody's. I couldn't compete with it. And you know the old phrase, you always get what you pay for. Not always. There's always an exception. I know you guys are a newer company, but your price and your quality beat everybody else's. I didn't lose anything, and I got the best unit for the best price. So what else? What better? What more could you ask for? And I know it's something we talked about, but I'm very, very happy with the unit. It's amazing. No regrets, and we're just very thankful to you guys that you made it as easy on us as you did. The installation went great. It was so easy. I don't even think you guys were here maybe 30 or 40 minutes. I expected it to be a half a day project, and I even took the time away from work, and it was nothing. It was amazingly easy, and again, we're thankful to you guys for everything you did. Cleaned up afterwards. You even made me clean my garage in order to have it put in, so my wife is really happy about that as well. So everything's just fantastic. Everybody has all these expenses. You have car insurance, hopefully you have life insurance, you have health insurance. There's all these things you pay for. I mean, cable, for crying out loud, now is right around $200 a month. Not to mention cell phones. So it was a decision I put off for a long time, and then once I started to do the math, I proved it out to myself that I was being foolish to not have one. The cost was so much less than I expected, but once I looked at it, I thought, okay, so I pay all this money to make sure that my house is okay if I have a storm. But if the storm is bad enough, I'm not going to be okay to cash in the policy. That it started to not make sense to me. So I realized that the only logical thing to do was to get the shelter, and obviously here we are. But it really, once I sat down with a pen and paper, what do they call that? The Ben Franklin method, I think, is where you do your pros and cons, and once you look at the numbers, you'll end up with a storm shelter. There's just really no other way about it. It makes so much sense. On paper, you just can't say no.